Welcome to The Watching Dead, the officially unofficial podcast for The Walking Dead on AMC. I'm Jim.
I'm Aaron.
And today we're talking about Season 7, Episode 7, titled Sing Me a Song. Hey, Ron, can you sing me Twinkle Twinkle Little Star?
I could.
While I make you cry because I've insulted your eyes?
And the memory of your mother, which in Lori's case isn't possible.
No, you've got it. He definitely remembers that.
Yeah, I wish he'd asked me about his mother. I could have told him a lot of stories
Uh-huh.
about terrible pancakes, about mostly terrible pancakes.
Car crashes.
Sure. Yep. What did you think of this episode?
I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was mostly fine to good.
Yeah, I was in a weird... I don't know why, but it was hard for me to engage with the episode last night. I think this was a hard episode to do our typical live watch through, which led to me missing a lot of stuff. But I think that this is like the first time that I can remember that I actually liked an episode more the second time I watched it.
Oh, okay.
There's still one or two... first of all, they're juggling 6 plot lines fairly well. And which helps carry some of the other stuff, because there's a couple of them that I thought were dumb and poorly executed, but what the hell, there was a couple, 3 or 4 that were pretty good. So I thought it was a step in the right direction. Certainly a lot better than the terrible episode of last season, but man, it's the other thing is it seems like when they have these hour episodes, it destroys the pacing.
Hour and a half. Yeah,
I'm just saying hour of actual content.
Oh, okay.
When I stripped all the commercial, when I got my version stripped of commercials, it was about 58 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
But
something like that.
And I don't know, it seems like that's about, you got a 42-minute episode in 60 minutes. You got a 60-minute episode in 90 minutes. That seems like the same ratio, but something about it just feels off. Like there was at one point where there's so many fucking commercials, all the narrative flow got lost.
Right.
And maybe that's one of the reasons I liked it better on rewatch too. I was able to skip all that stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to expect from next episode. Honestly, it's in a weird. I'm kind of braced myself for a disappointing finale because it's in a weird spot as far as plot wise. That they can't really... I don't know. It's hard for me to see, even with another 90-minute episode, how they're going to really put an exclamation point on this and make it not feel like it's just hitting pause.
Yeah, I mean, they could do some stuff with the kids, that either endangering them or actually like taking one of them or something.
Maybe endangerment, really? You're advocating going down that well again?
Sure. I mean, it seems to be where they're setting up, right, though?
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to be terrible, but that's what they're kind of setting up. It seems to be that he's going to either endanger one of them or threaten one of them in some way.
Right on.
I don't know. There were a couple, like you said, there were a couple of storylines here that I think... I wasn't expecting the 90-minute episode, and when it happened, I kind of didn't want it to, but... I was looking in the second watch for things that I would have cut, like things that maybe deserved more time in their own episode, like maybe the Rick and Aaron stuff. I thought was, it could have been interesting if they continued it, but now we've got like this weird 3-hour finale thing where everything is kind of dependent on the previous episode too, which I feel like maybe they could have taken parts out of it and had, instead of 6 storylines, have 3 and service an entire plot for one of those at least.
I agree. It's weird
because we got like a half plot for Aaron and Rick.
It's like in Star Trek Next Generation, let's say that Rick and Aaron are on an away team mission.
Yeah.
Very rare that those, B-plot away team missions would run 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's like they're doing this interesting run. I'm totally sold on it. Like I wish we got more of this, like post-apocalyptic, country living type of, houseboat in a moat with a bunch of zombies. Like that shit's cool. I wish we could have finished it.
Yeah. But I guess we'll have to wait till next week.
Yeah. But also I think they got this tension of wanting to set up this story that essentially everybody in Rick's camp wants to take out Negan except for Rick.
Right.
And they're all working in secret to do so. Some with more hesitance and trepidation than others, but they're all kind of on the same page about doing just that.
Oh, yeah.
A real quick housekeeping note before we get into the podcast proper. We just updated our club software, made a lot of improvements to the system, but one of the drawbacks is we could not automatically renew everyone in the club on this new software. So if you want to remain a club member, you have to essentially re-opt into the club to maintain your features. And Jim is here to tell you how to do that.
Up at the top of the website, we have a link for Club BM, which is Club Bald Move. All you got to do is click on that and then go to upgrade subscription, and it should automatically send you over to the new form to upgrade.
Make sure you're logged in when you try that.
Right.
So get right to the recap then?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So Michonne finds the mattresses, which may no longer be on fire, but she's still smoldering about it. She's also biting hard on Omar Little's bit. If you're not a Wire fan, first of all, shame on you. Go watch The Wire. But one of the most popular characters in Wire history, his deal was when he would go hunting, he would whistle "Hi Ho the Dario" or "Hunting We Will Go" or whatever version of that song you like the best.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how much of this whistling is a montage to Omar and how much of it is just in world, like paralleling with Negan.
Well,
because we see Negan whistling quite often as well. So.
Right. And that also serves a purpose of just luring the zombies out. Like, she's wanting this to happen. And it's unclear at this stage what she's doing, but she kills 2 zombies that try to jump her, drags one up the road by his feet, whistling all the while. They also do a very weird zoom in on the radio and sword that are still sitting in, which I don't know ever pays off.
Maybe. I mean, they're zooming in on the radio. Maybe she's keeping track of the saviors a little bit with this radio.
But here's the thing.
Not
the
sure.
very next scene is Rick and Aaron waking up in the back of the U-Haul box truck.
Right.
And they start with Rick. He wakes up and looks at his radio that's tucked in his little pack as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to think of, like, is there something here I'm missing about them checking in or what? I'm not. There's something significant here that whizzed past me, and I don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. I do want to shout out the spectacular through the ears kill Michonne does on one of those zombies. Like, katana goes in one ear and out the other.
I guess zombie kill of the week. It's not super flashy, but
yeah, I always like it when they cut the top of the head of the zombie off, and you can still see like the lower skull and everything. That's pretty sweet. But I've seen that like half a dozen times now. The through the ears stab is pretty spectacular.
Yep.
Anyway, Aaron and Rick wake up in a box truck. They open the door. It bothered me the second time that they still. Why don't you just poke like a hole through that truck so you can kind of like in all 4 cardinal directions on each side so you can see what you're up against? That seems like a pretty big liability. Like, you just open it up and you're in the middle of a fucking herd.
Right.
Like, maybe just take the day off in that case. I don't know.
Yeah. Is it better or worse than a truck with plastic flaps on the back instead of a door?
It's probably better.
Okay.
Having a hard shell between you and zombies is always a good thing.
Uh-huh.
They say we didn't see that last night, and see what? They're going to make us wait.
Right.
I thought that's dumb. They should have led with the whole, come and get me kind of sign.
Yeah.
It's like a weird false. It does sometimes feel like, because like last episode, I was ready to throw my hands up there and chalk it up all on the executives, but they still seem like have a fundamental problem with what builds tension and what doesn't. Mm-hmm. This doesn't build tension; it's just dumb. Okay,
yeah. I'm with you. I do think it makes more sense that Rick is out there going on missions now, because in the past we've always been like, Rick, you're the leader. You need to stay behind. You need to lead
mode now.
From the back.
Yeah.
Now Rick's not the leader anymore.
Right.
I mean, he's turned the keys over to Negan.
He's middle management.
Yeah. Go out on the raids. That's fine. And you're still a badass. So you're good at raiding. Do it.
Right. And also I think that it's also desperation. They're a day away from the saviors.
Sure.
I imagine they were expecting that Heath and Tara would come back with something. Mm-hmm. And the fact that she didn't come up with any, I mean, god damn, that's the other thing. Like her bopping up to the gates of Alexandria. I keep thinking about last episode and how bad it was. Mm-hmm. That's another like just betrayal of character. Like you were out for 2 fucking weeks to try to find supplies that the group desperately needs, even before you knew about Negan, and you found nothing, lost a vehicle and a person, and you're coming up with fucking novelty sunglasses on? Way to read a fucking room.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Big old smile.
So we then cut to two saviors keeping an eye on the herd, and they mention it's been all damn night that they're waiting for the herd to cross. They also talk about Fat Joey, I guess, has come up with some way to rig the herds to redirect them. They're introducing that concept. I thought it was a pretty fuzzy way to introduce it because I kind of already knew about some of these tactics from reading the comic books, and if you didn't, I think maybe you're supposed to think that that's not fully understand it, but then they talk about redirection immediately afterwards, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, so they're setting up a couple things, right? I mean, they're like you said, it is a little fuzzy, which I think I'm okay with, but they're setting up the stuff that happens later with this Mark guy or whatever his name is. Apparently he was supposed to do some of this redirection, and he didn't, and they're setting up this concept of redirection here, but I also think they're doing something which to me is a little more interesting, is they're setting up the idea that the saviors are out to destroy this herd. Like they're temporarily routing the herd around, just giving it the runaround.
They want to do a final stand.
Right. They're talking about rocket launchers and depth charges and boomsticks and all sorts of stuff. It very much sounded like to me that's what they were doing. And it got me thinking, is that actually a valuable service that he is providing? Because in this world, you could see if the Hilltop never teamed up with the Saviors and Alexandria didn't get in the mix and Ezekiel, like the kingdom wasn't, if all of these groups weren't together, would they have the strength or the capability to take out the herd?
Oh, totally. And that's somewhat clever from having Negan go up and saying when he knocks the zombies in the head, we thought that was just him having a goof, but he's saying service. Maybe that's a soft sell that they'll soon appreciate. But it's weird for Alexandria because they've already survived one herd. But you can tell, like, that's very few civil settlements can survive a full-blown herd coming at them.
And they don't have the capability to take out a herd.
No.
All they can do is route it away. All they can do is hope to be ignored by the herd. Whereas Negan, now that he has all this firepower and is amassing more, might be able to.
Right.
So, I don't know.
But also, you wonder if maybe some of that is like propaganda. Like, hey, we're going to kick these we're going to take the fight to the zombies, kind of, and he never intends to. Because that's also a useful threat.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It's
and good motivation, too, not even just a threat, right?
I'm so saying the geopolitics of Negan's situation is fascinating. And they would do well to explore more of that because to this point, it's really an open mystery about why he is surviving. Like, they don't really do a great job of explaining how this, dictator is maintaining discipline amongst his own men. They're not showing like this cadre of loyal Neganites to the bone. Like, it seems like everybody has a bone to pick with him, and axes to grind and grudges that he nurses. He just like encourages them, like, oh, don't forget, I'm fucking your wife.
Right. And hey, Fat Joey, Fat Joseph. Well, at least he calls him.
Yeah,
that's his full name. That's
respect.
A little bit of respect. Yeah. But yeah, I wish they were doing a slightly better job. I guess right now they're still in the setting up Negan as a bad guy phase, but
see, that's why
they've really got that pedal to the metal.
When I said in the opening episode that my worst fear is that we would be here at the end of the season, we would be halfway through the setup to get to the real meat of the Negan story, and they're going to take the whole fucking 16 episodes to do that build up. I was afraid of that because all this interesting shit is getting diluted by a bunch of shit that's not interesting.
Well, let me ask you this.
Let me ask you something.
If your season is 16 episodes long, and you have 6 90-minute episodes, doesn't that really make it like a 19-20 episode season?
Yeah.
Aren't we on the verge of going back to fucking Lost, where there's too much time to fill, and it has to be filled with bullshit in order to get there?
And when you still go back to Lost, this isn't a pot shot at Lost necessarily. This is more like
it's just the whole
one of the innovations of the golden age of television is smaller seasons equals more concise, less filler, a more engaging, interesting story.
Right.
And Walking Dead seems to be walking away from that concept.
Yeah, I mean, going right back to the things that people didn't like about the TV right before the modern era of TV.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So after the Saviors have been hanging out in the back of this truck all night long, Jesus and Carl pop out of the back. Like, good thing none of you guys coughed, sneezed, farted, had to piss.
Yeah.
Like, what if Carl, like, at 3 o'clock in the morning, just had to fucking piss?
Yeah.
You can't hold that. That's a biological. I mean, did you just piss his
your
pants?
Yeah.
Must have.
Absolutely.
Must have.
You shit yourself, you piss yourself.
Unfortunately, he had been eating asparagus in the back the whole time, too.
And they smelled it immediately.
But yeah, I stooped
and Jesus
to Austin
had been
Powers.
drinking whiskey.
That's right. I stooped an Austin Powers joke. Anyway, Jesus gets busy sabotaging boxes. He's cutting the bottoms out of the scotch shipment, which I thought was hilarious.
It is.
It's petty and cool, you know?
Yeah.
He's squirting syrup out the back, which is like, what the fuck? And he's like, I'm leaving a trail. It's okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Jesus says, hey, we got to bail. We're getting too close. And Carl's like, I don't know, Jesus. I'm scared. I don't know how to bail. Why don't you show me the ropes? Go first. Jesus does so, and he's all ninja and awesome, like a little long-haired biblical panther. And Carl just waves at the back like, sucker, and Jesus has been had.
Yeah, I do love that they give Jesus a big speech on how to jump out. And
right.
We can do this. And
right.
Show me how, Jesus. I'm all scared.
Yeah.
And Carl's like, nah. See you, Jesus.
So Negan, Carl pulls up in the back of the truck, and you can hear Negan's voice prominently. And Carl's got his hands on a assault rifle, and I'm like, I wonder how they'll plausibly and believably keep Carl from killing Negan at this moment.
Yeah.
And Negan says, hey, what went wrong with the redirect? And there's this thing to talk about Mark fucking up. Jesus' sabotage of the Scotch shipment goes off, and all the bottles break. Carl springs in action and rocking and rolling with this assault rifle. He kills a couple of his dudes, literally a couple, too. Negan shows up. He has got no human shield for like the first 30 seconds of confrontation, and Carl, for whatever reason, doesn't just shoot him in the face.
I have no idea why.
Carl knew this was a suicide mission.
Yes.
I don't understand this. Negan's only survived because they needed to in the plot.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was actually kind of shocked that they just set this up and let it play out, and they couldn't think of a better reason.
Right.
Like maybe Negan hits the deck, or he takes some evasive action, and like one of his dudes. What eventually happens is Carl eventually starts to shoot, and Dwight takes him out. But it just felt very implausible and stupid.
I agree. And then he has multiple opportunities throughout the episode to kill Negan, and he doesn't take any of them.
I mean, I would like to see Negan be a badass, like give some indication that he's a survivor, like he's not just an idiot, and him doing this thing, like he finally takes, cover behind one of his own men.
Yeah.
That should have been like play one if
get
you're going to do
Joey.
that.
Just, like get from the other side of the truck, hey, Fat Joey.
Right.
And then he comes around holding Fat Joey in front of him. That's perfect.
Right. Yeah.
But they don't do any of that. And this is the least forgivable because later on you can say, okay, well, he's starting to win Carl over maybe a little bit.
Not in the beginning.
But not right here, no. There's no excuse for this one.
Anyway, Negan says he's adorable and that you scared the shit out of me. A lot of this dialogue's right out of the comic books, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Once I look past the shitty staging of the action itself. Dwight subdues Carl after he kills one more of Negan's men. Negan calls him off, offers him his hand as Daryl watches from Walker duty helplessly. And they keep pulling out, and they show this massive Negan complex, and it feels like it lasts for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
like it just keeps pulling out, and we had time to have a whole conversation about how is there an optimum zombie placement, and like making analogies to tower defense games, and then become aware of how long this pullout's going on. It was like it's just super indulgent, and maybe this is why I didn't like it at first, because I was coming into this episode with a grudge, and right off the bat they hit me with a whole bunch of stupid bullshit.
Right. There are some like very quick lines here about the redirect getting screwed up.
Yep.
And I guess, that's what Mark was supposed to be in charge of, which we find later. They're kind of setting up breadcrumbs for that, which worked out pretty well.
Sure.
I thought.
That's fine. And also take note on this massive complex, how tall it is and how many lookouts. I actually thought on the second time through, it's like, you know what? Maybe there's no lookouts, and that's just stupid. But they made sure that they show silhouettes of dudes at all kinds of vantage points and all these very high locations, which you should
Makes
do.
sense, yeah.
You have this commanding, dominating view of the entire countryside. Use it. Except, keep this in mind when we get later on in the episode.
And I guess this is also a power plant, yeah?
How so?
Or some kind of refinery.
It does.
It's clear
that
it looks like clear that they would have a lot of like either power or ability to produce power here.
It honestly looks a lot like the old White River power plant by Mooresville that we grew up by.
Huh. Okay.
So I assume it's some kind of coal firing plant, but who knows? It could be a steel smelting thing. It could be anything. Mm-hmm. But it's a big factory. It's something that
I mean, you got to live in a power plant to be watching Who's the Boss during the apocalypse.
Sure.
You have to. There's no excuse otherwise.
It's essentially every fortress that one of the bad guys in Captain Planet would live in.
Okay.
Like, you know?
Yeah, it's polluting the atmosphere.
Sure,
It's just dumping that CO2.
Yeah, and if this was a Captain Power, or not Captain Power, if this is a Captain Planet episode, Negan would be some kind of pig-faced billionaire with money flying out of his pockets, belching cigar smoke. But it's just Walking Dead, so he's just Negan belching cigar smoke. Carl refuses Negan's hand. The offer to help up, and Negan informs him his stink eye's only half as good as his old man because he's only got half the eye. And he says, you know what? Come to think of it, you're lucky to have a hand, and so is Daryl over here, which Carl, for the fucking umpteenth time, is impressed upon the point that he has no power here. He should have took a shot. Take the fucking man's hand. Negan laments the fact that he's going to be so busy he won't have time to screw but one wife. And Carl, fearfully, for whatever reason, asks, what are you going to do to me? And Negan gets angry and says, don't fuck this up by betraying that you're not some fearless badass. And also, don't want to spoil the surprise. It's so weird how, I mean, I guess it's not because Carl's just a 15-year-old boy. But it's kind of weird the way they chose to have him vacillate between this fearless guy who is ready to lay his life on the line and the kind of the fearful little boy. I'm not sure to what extent it worked for me. How did it work for you?
It mostly worked. I'm not totally sure why the eye thing got to him as much as it did.
Well,
once he started singing, like,
right.
I mean, maybe it's just the powerlessness. Maybe he's just feeling it in that moment.
But see, I wish they would show that those were more tears of rage than tears of like sorrow and despair, because I think that would have worked with his little junior psychopath line. Like have Chandler Riggs like, I mean, I've been in a situation where I'm so fucking angry that like the tears are coming to my eyes. You know, that's a weird fucking emotional reaction, but it's something that can happen. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he's not sophisticated enough to show that. I have no idea, and I don't want to pick on Chandler Riggs because I think he's pretty awesome. Anyway, what are we at? Yes, Negan goes to address his people and says, "Good news, everybody! Everyone gets fresh vegetables at dinner. No points."
Half-eaten cucumbers. This guy in the truck, he just took the tops off all of them.
He ate the ends out of every cucumber.
He did. What? Who eats cucumbers that way? Just chomps right down on them.
I guess if you're hungry and like fresh fruits and vegetables,
he's got a knife on him.
Oh, that's
he
true.
could cut slices of this thing, right?
I guess some people like gnawing on shit, man.
I suppose it's weird. I've never seen anybody do that before.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Seen people do a lot of things with cucumbers, but not eat the tops of them.
Yeah, Negan's wives are going to be really complaining that you ate the cucumber. No.
Oh no.
Say Negan's got no. I'm not going to say anything. Anyway, Negan impresses the point of Carl that everyone respects him because they're still kneeling. He hasn't dismissed them, and he hasn't said anything. He's got his back turned to him. I guess like a lot of this episode, it felt like. Have you ever been over at a friend's house and he's like bragging about? So I'm thinking like Pete Campbell in Mad Men when he's got the new hi-fi system and he's showing like Don Draper and he could not be more impressed or could not be less impressed, and he keeps doubling down on bragging about his machine to try to get the guy, and instead of be like, well, he just doesn't give a shit about hi-fi or he's just trying to shine you on. I felt like that with Negan. Like Negan is almost desperate and cringy in his desire to appear cool to Carl. Did you get that? And maybe part of this is JDN's performance.
Maybe so. Yeah.
I don't know. It's like because it's like, oh yeah, look how cool it is. People are. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Because when he walks out there, he's like, check this out or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And Carl's not impressed by any of it. I don't think he is. Do you?
It's weird because he almost like when Carl's showing Negan his house. Mm-hmm. It almost felt like they were a little buddy for a second, like throwing darts. And,
totally. I
got
that
kind of thing. And I don't understand why exactly.
Well, I mean, there's a germ of something cool there because this is the age where kids want to rebel against their parents. Like, give them a reason. They're liable to change their politics. They're liable to change their religion. They're liable to do anything. And Negan is showing a philosophy that's radically, not even radically different, but different than the way Rick and his group roll, but is also the victorious method, and it's getting results, and it's getting. I think they could sell a storyline where that kind of appeals to Carl, and he's conflicted about who to, but
it felt weird as portrayed
because Negan is so weird and so extreme and so eclectic that it's like he's just too weird for even Carl to embrace as a weird uncle.
I guess they just didn't do enough to set it up for me. Like I wouldn't buy that this early on Carl would be interested in what Negan's offering. I mean, he wanted to kill him like an hour ago.
Yeah, and I still wonder what this episode had been like if we had not had the Terra episode in between that kind of killed all the momentum of like, oh my God, Jesus and Carl in a truck. Mm-hmm. Anyway, back in Alexandria, Rosita, Eugene, Spencer, and Father G are preparing to disembark on a supply run. Eugene says, hey, Rosita, why don't we go with this group and have a larger group? And Rosita's like, no, we'll be fine alone. And Spencer announces that he thinks he can do better than Rick. Rosita sincerely doubts it. And Rosita and Eugene take off, and Spencer and Father Gabriel pile into what I think is a pink Honda Insight.
Okay.
Which is a fine post-apocalyptic vehicle. Gas is at a premium. You want something that gets 45, 50 miles a gallon, yeah?
Sure.
I don't know about that. It's like did Alexandria have some kind of mildly successsul Mary Kay representative that got like you didn't get the pink Cadillac?
It was Spencer.
He didn't get the pink Cadillac because he wasn't that committed to it, but he got the pink Insight.
His mom was like, look, the Latin classes, the pain is going to do you good one day. So is the Mary Kay.
You got good cheekbones. Get out there and sell.
Do it.
Sell some of foundation, some eyeliner.
Great in eyeliner, Spencer. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Spencer's car. Maybe. But my big question is, why is it so dirty?
Well, I mean,
why is it so dirty?
There's no post-apocalyptic car washes, man.
The sky will wash your car for you, man. Just keep it outside.
I wonder that about Rick's hair. Why is it so dirty?
Yeah.
And Daryl, fuck the cars. These guys got some shampoo.
Good point.
Anyway, Negan then takes Carl to his harem back at the Savior Complex, and he says, I know where you're from. Everyone dresses like they do the books at an auto shop. I know you're going to want to look at them titties. Knock yourself out.
Wait. An auto show, not an auto shop.
No. He says, no. He goes, where you're from. I thought so too, but he says, where you're from, I know everyone dresses like they do the books at an auto shop. Like, he's trying to imagine like a large Marge type that's doing the bookkeeping for an auto shop.
Okay. I thought he said these women are dressed like they're part of an auto show.
Right, which also would make sense.
Right.
Because they're all essentially dressed. This is like a very cheap Eastern European knockoff version of The Bachelor.
Okay,
you know how like when we steal like the American Idol from the Brits or whatever, and then we do like our different version. Like this is like what The Bachelor looks like in fucking Estonia or something like that.
Instead of giving roses to the women, you give irons to the men of the women because they're all taken.
Amber, sorry, but Mark's gonna have to get the iron this week. No, it's weird, and they're all in these slinky black dresses, and it's just
of course it's
really
weird. That's the
fake
point.
80s porno set looking thing that are all hanging out at.
This is supposed to disgust you, and if it doesn't, if you feel like, oh fuck yeah, Negan's got it made here, I think you're a gross person. You need to question your life decisions.
Of course, but I'm like,
I'm not saying you're feeling that, obviously, but if you're out there and you're thinking that,
but shouldn't they, like, wouldn't it be a more interesting choice to maybe make this a little bit more like what a normal person would conceive of as a power trip fantasy? Like, why do they? This is already a gross.
Do that.
This is already a gross concept. Why not try to? Yeah, I guess what you're saying is if they did that, they would probably be accused of trying to glamorize the Negan lifestyle. Fair point.
That, and I just don't think it's possible. I mean, if you know that these people are not here of their own consent, that's not a good situation, regardless of how you address it. And
I understand that. I'm just saying that, like, this particular aesthetic. Put aside the morality of the situation.
You don't like the Victorian look.
It's just going. It's just so I mean, like I said, the whole situation's gauche, and then the way the situation presented is gauche. It's just a gauche on gauche sandwich, and I don't know what to do about it. But you're right.
That's the point.
I don't know that you want to sexy it up, you know.
Yeah, maybe if it was an auto show, I would buy it.
Or if they were just doing the books in an auto shop.
Right.
Yeah. Go a different direction.
Here's the thing about this scene, though, is like during the live watch, I noticed we weren't cracking jokes or talking all that much during Negan's scenes, which, you know, JDM's out there doing his JDM Negan thing. But I think it's pretty compelling. Like, that's the sign of a good scene, when you can get us to shut the fuck up and pay attention to your scene.
Especially with this much dressing. Like, we made all the jokes we could make about this situation for about 30 seconds, and then
5 minutes we just sat and watched, and it was, you know, it's fairly capturing. He's still a captivating character, even though, you know, he's got these mannerisms that are kind of funny. It's telling. He's detestable, he's scary, and he's captivating.
So he goes and talks to Sherry, Dwight's ex-wife, about what happened with Mark and Amber. And she says, well, we talk about when you're not around is none of your business, which I'm like, I don't have a good handle on what Negan does and does not allow vis-a-vis women. Because he doesn't, quote-unquote, rape women. He sure doesn't have a problem with making them feel very uncomfortable and keeping them against their what I would consider their will. But he respects the privacy of their conversations. Except for not really.
No, I think he respects the privacy of his own conversations.
Right. But he goes, well, fair enough. But what I heard is that Mark skipped on a redirect to be with Amber, and I need to know if it's true. And she essentially verifies the truth of the situation by saying she made a mistake and then asked him to take it easy on her. He says, did I ever hit you? Have I ever hit any of you? And she goes, I know you haven't, but I also know there's worse when it comes to you. And she's referring to the waffle iron, I'm assuming. My question is, why did he go to Sherry? Like, it seems like he knew what was going on. Why not just go right to Amber?
I don't know. I guess,
is this a way of, like, making her betray Amber's trust in this way? Is a further way that he can exert his dominance over her?
Maybe. Yeah, I could see that.
But I don't know. Maybe she's the one with the most spine that he has left to break. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know who doesn't? Amber. Amber is a cooked noodle.
Yeah.
And he says, like, hey, you know what? You want to go back with Mark? You can do it. But what you can't do is cheat on me. And, hey, don't cry. This is all going to work out. But I think at this point, I didn't know exactly, but Amber knew what was going to happen. The price of this disobedience is going to be Mark's face.
Yep.
He goes back to Sherry, and she calls him an asshole, and he says, well, that's why you like me, and he kisses her, and she plays her part, and it's just super gross. Like, I was like, oh God, like, because she's actually, you know, playing the prostitute, right? She's like not just letting him kiss her, she's returning it because that's what he expects her to do. Then Dwight walks in with Daryl, who is holding a plate of grapes and olives or some shit like that.
That's some demeaning shit right there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, oh, you want to make sure you're sticking your tongue down your right-hand man's throat. Wait, no, not your right-hand man's ex-wife's throat. That'd be a whole different Negan. Well, And just as he's walking in the door, it's like, why? I don't know. I don't get his
the timing.
his
I'm impressed by the timing.
True. Do you think he knew? Like he had set? Yeah, he
did tell him get the food ready.
So maybe that's why he was fucking with Sherry. He wanted to make sure that he was within tongue range.
This could have been
as soon as he heard footsteps outside the door. It's just like, all right, time to.
I mean, I just think he started in, and this was either going to be a 30-second kiss or this was going to be a 3-hour kiss, depending on how long it took him to get the plate in there.
Yeah. Daryl steps right to him and says, "Why you got him here?" And Negan fires back, "What we talk about when you're not here is none of your business. And don't make me stick this toothpick through Carl's only good eye." Mm-hmm. He tells Dwight to fire up the furnace because it's deja vu time. Again, he really likes giving it to Dwight. And they walk out, and Dwight's wife immediately hits the bottle and breaks down crying, which I thought that was the best thing that she's done on the series so far.
Okay,
that was like
best decision she's made, or the best performance.
The best performance.
Okay.
Like I took her seriously as a real character for the first time when she showed. That was like I thought a really good a set piece of a performance that she did at the end there, where she's just desperately drinking and like, oh god, my life is a fully fucking waking nightmare. Mm-hmm. In a way that like I never get from Dwight. Like Dwight talks to talk, but I don't buy him being haunted.
Yeah.
Like, even when he kills, like, his, carrot boy or whatever the hell that guy's name is. Like, I never really got, like, the relationship or whatever, but I buy how gross this is and how demeaning and degrading it must be.
And it's a fairly well-constructed scene, I think. At the beginning, Negan goes over and he pours this glass of whiskey for her. And you almost hardly notice it. And then, he does a bunch of stuff. He goes over to see Amber. He goes, drinks his beer.
Yep.
Then finally, it all comes back to that glass of whiskey, which I thought was nice.
Well, and the other thing is, like, here's me from my male perspective. I'm processing all this as insults towards Dwight and provocations. But when she threw back that whiskey and, like, was trying to keep her shit together, I recognized that these are all very equally, if not more so, slight, she's being used as a tool to tweak Dwight, which is even worse,
Yeah, and, I mean, she's real sad about the things she's got to do just to keep them alive at this point. I mean,
right. And Dwight's not helping
there is no
either,
other option.
Like, as we'll get to here in a minute.
Yeah.
So we finally find out what Rick and Aaron were looking at, and it's a gate that says, essentially, there's nothing for trouble for you here. Don't come back here. Which is funny because as a Jehovah's Witness, back in the day, I'd see like you'd see gates like that out in the country.
You do,
and
yeah.
Every once in a while, you'd have the old turd that fucking went to jail during Vietnam because he didn't fight, and he'd be like, "Yep, we're going back there," like because he surely doesn't. He's not talking about God's people, and I'm like, "God damn it, Ralph, you're going to get us all fucking killed." This is some serious bottle hitting. This guy went to Vietnam,
right?
And he's haunted by Charlie, and he's not going to want your fucking draft dodging ass coming and talk about the Bible. But anyway, I feel for Aaron here in this situation because he's got a lunatic wanting to take him down the garden path, and they got nothing but knives and
it's
wrist rockets to fight back with.
Scary thing.
But Rick's got a point. He's like, "Hey, we got to find something today because they could be back tomorrow. Hell, they could be back today." Rick is a fucking prescient prophet, apparently. In the pink insight, Father Gabriel and Spencer are having to talk about the nature of sin and whether hating someone in your heart is a sin. And he confesses that he hates Rick. That Rick is just a 2-bit cop. His mom was a fucking politician and awesome, and that Rick, people have died because of Rick. Well, a lot of people died because of your dumbass brother. A lot of people died because of your dumbass mother.
Yep.
So, come on, Spencer. I know you got politician in your genes, but Jesus. And, Father Gabriel, which I still have a hard time taking him seriously. I still harbor a little hate in my heart towards my man here. And he points out, hey, some people died, made others live. We don't get to judge because we're here now and we can look to the future because of Rick. And Spencer says, what future? I think it's best that he doesn't make it back to the car, which then Father Gabriel says, stop the car. You might not be a sinner, but you definitely are a shit. But it's not a terminal case yet. And then he says, I'm walking home because why? Was he just making a point that I don't even want to hang out with you? You're being such a shit?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Or I wonder it's more like I see what you're doing. You're essentially spreading sedition, and I want no part in it. If I keep in this car, you're going to keep on me about this shit, and this is as firm as a stand that I can make against this anti-Rick talk.
Right. He's going to end the conversation there and let him think about it.
Spencer, because of Father Gabriel's timing, gets a real windfall here. He goes running to the woods and finds a deer hunter in a stand.
Wait. He goes running into the woods.
Yes.
Why?
I'm guessing because he heard some thrashing from because the guy in the deer stand wasn't that far off the road.
So you're guessing that maybe he heard some thrashing that we didn't as an audience, and that's what caused him to just sprint off into the woods.
What do you think happened here? Do you have a conspiracy theory?
No, okay. I think you're absolutely right. But, being able to hear that as an audience member might have been nice.
Fun, yeah.
Instead of just going, what the fuck? He's just running into the woods.
Right, yeah.
For no reason.
Good point. Negan explains to Carl that he wants to get to know him better. And he says, and you're an interesting case because you're smart, but you did something crazy and stupid, and I can't let it slide. And he's having this really long monologue, and at one point he just starts saying, you know what, this is like talking to a birthday present. Take this off. I want to see what Grandma gave me. Which I thought was and this is this shit that's right out of the comic books, which is really, really funny.
It is. It's great.
And very Negan. And Carl's reluctant, but again, he learned from the first 12 times he pulled this shit that Negan's going to get what Negan wants. So he reveals his eye socket. And it's gross, but not as gross as I thought it would be.
Okay, yeah.
When I saw it in high def, it's pretty not. I mean, I've seen an empty eye socket. Like Gus Fring is like king of empty eye sockets. This was no Gus Fring.
No.
Which is interesting because apparently Breaking Bad lore says that the Walking Dead visual effects guys did the assist on that particular scene that I'm talking about.
Right.
So, how did this end up being somehow disappointing?
Well, they probably have to do it more often.
Yeah,
They're probably going for an effect that they can achieve pretty easily over and over again.
It might have been practical. I was expecting them because I was looking at it and I was trying to look at the way it was moving on Chandler Riggs' face, and I'm like, is that a practical effect or is that a digital effect? Because if it's a practical effect, then it's pretty good. If it's a digital effect, then it sucks, is my estimation.
Okay.
Anyway, so Negan starts saying how fucking gross and disgusting it is, and how can he put his finger in there. And Carl starts crying, and Negan apologizes for hurting his feelings, which, is this genuine? Is Negan really sorry in the moment here? Or is this a power play?
That's a real good question, and I don't know the answer to it. I'm not 100% sure on his motivation here.
I mean, he talks a big mess about breaking Daryl, and if I'm Carl, I'd be thinking, what all of this stuff is genuine, what all of it is an act, and what all of it is to, quote-unquote, break my spirit.
Right.
Just right then, Fat Joe barges in with Lucille and says that Negan left it in the truck because of all the excitement over the shootout, and Negan asks him if he treated it like a lady, if he petted its little bat pussy, and Fat Joe's visibly uncomfortable with this when Negan says, just dicking with you. Everyone knows baseball bats don't have a pussy. And says,
which is also pretty funny.
This is the breaking balls I was trying to tell you about, Carl. Then he orders him to sing him a song, something that his mom used to sing him, and Carl manages to squeak out some broken lines of "You Are My Sunshine" while Negan's taking big swings with his bat and distracting him. And he asks him if his mom sang that to him, and asks him, they talk about Lori and how she died, and he goes, no wonder you're a serial killer. Well, chapter 2 in your development. Come on, we got the iron ready. Anything to say before we get to the ironing scene?
Nope.
We are at the ironing scene. That's it.
Yeah.
Negan walks in, makes a big speech about the rules. He has Carl hold his bat, which I thought was a nice symmetry with the way he treated his father.
Yeah, just beat him to death right there in front of all of his people. Just do it.
He says, look, I'd like to ignore the rules, but the rules keep us alive. If you try to skirt the rules, you get the iron. And, they show Amber losing her shit and Sherry trying to comfort her because she's been through this. Negan then takes his red-hot fucking iron, with a pair of welder's gloves and pushes it against Mark's face until he literally passes out. And the whole time, Carl is giving Daryl this, like, what the fuck look, which would, I guess, be more impressive if I didn't know that Carl had seen Negan do even equally heinous shit before.
Okay.
Like, you just saw him beat to death 2 men. Pushing an iron against his face is going to be the one that's like, this guy's a monster. I don't know.
Yeah.
The writers watch their own show? I don't know. Open question. And then there's this pretty sick shot where he takes the iron off, and you called it, like, ever since the iron came out of the stove. It's like, oh, there's going to be some melted skin involved.
Oh, yeah.
There was.
I've seen enough horror torture porn movies to know.
Yep. I have not. Still uncomfortable for me. Negan says with disdain that the pussy pissed himself. He makes Daryl clean it up, which, whatever. It's like not even the 10th worst thing Daryl's probably done.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just for Rick. A doctor comes in to treat Mark's facial burn, and Negan says, well, that's it. We're square now. This essentially sets everybody to their proper accounting, and everything's cool. And then he says he's going to figure out something to do with Carl. Is there a lot of discussion to be had in this scene?
I don't feel like it. I mean, we've kind of talked about, Carl and Negan's budding relationship here. I don't know if there's anything else. And it makes sense that if you're going back to feudalism, that you would bring, like, this is just old school, Middle Ages, public punishment and execution type stuff, and it's an effective way to keep people in line. Mm-hmm. We then switch to Spencer, who's got this. When we were watching it, I made the analogy that this is the exact equal and opposite to Glenn's getting the zombie out of the well gambit in season 2. Yeah.
Instead of descending down into a bad idea, Spencer's trying to pull a bad idea down to his level. He rigs up this thing, pulls the deer stand down. The deer hunter is then hanging by the tree by his arms. The weight of the man, because he's kind of a portly man, rips the zombie's arms off, and he hits the ground like a sack of potatoes. Spencer then retrieves the guy's bow, which looks like a pretty nice compound bow, and then essentially teabags the zombie.
Right.
Puts his crotch right within prime biting distance as he rifles the corpse's pockets and looks for things that he can scavenge. Why? Why did this zombie not bite him in the nuts? Because there was nothing that I saw that actually killed this zombie.
Yeah, he fell from the tree, didn't hit his head as far as I can tell.
I've seen zombies fall through worse and get up.
So I really don't know what killed this zombie.
I wish, because for the whole time I'm like, you're going to get your dick bit. You're going to get your dick bit.
Me too.
You're going to get your dick bit. I wish they'd shown Spencer shoving a knife in his head so I could have relaxed if they're not going to have him essentially get his dick bit.
Sure. I mean, the first time through, I missed that he even pulled anything out of his pockets because I was so concerned about this dick bite.
I know. I got dick bit blue balls, man, and
it's not like a show doesn't have a history of biting dicks.
That's right. You put dick biting on the table last season, and then this, very unfulfilled. I hope that Spencer somehow dies from a bite to the dick, because that would be that would make the scene worth it. But he does rifle through, and he finds a list, which I didn't have a prayer of understanding last night on the stream we were watching it on. But it's a note written in Latin on this guy's body. Plausibility of a deer hunter in Virginia being fluent in Latin.
Not great, but not impossible. Surely, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know a lot of people speak that Latin.
I don't
even
either,
amongst
but
educated, quote unquote, elite types, like Latin is very much a dead language.
If we came across like 4 or 5 of these just randomly scattered through the Virginia countryside, I'd call bullshit.
Okay, but one you'll allow?
Yeah, the guy's got a quirk.
Okay.
The guy liked Latin.
So that's that scene. Rosita and Eugene are at the bullet factory that he took Abraham to last season, and Rosita wants her one bullet, and Eugene says no. And Eugene actually makes a lot of good points. He's like, look, I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm on board with the general thrust, but we got to lull these people into a false sense of complacency, because when we go to hit them, we got to hit them with everything we got, and we got to make sure we tag out Negan and the whole power structure. And Rosita says, yeah, I'm hearing you, but no, that's all bullshit. I want my bullet. And I got, on second watch, I was making fun of Eugene too much to first watch. Second watch, I actually was fully on Eugene's side and kind of mad at Rosita. How Because, he's even saying, like, look, if you try this and fail,
right.
a price will be paid. And she goes, I'll pay that price. Like,
that's
look,
not the
you
point
dumbass.
He's making. Yeah.
Yes.
He's making the exact opposite point, which is you will not be the one to pay the price. We will.
I get you want to avenge Abraham and prove to everyone and Sasha that you loved him best, but holy shit, this is so phenomenally stupid. And I'm mad at her and I'm mad at Eugene for going along with it.
But so everybody seems to be on board with that at this point. Like, I wish people would just talk about it.
Yeah.
Because no one seems to be talking about it with each other. They're just off on their individual missions. I mean, Michonne goes on a fucking mission to at least meet with Negan. I don't know what she's going to do once she gets there, but everybody seems to want to kill this guy, and nobody seems to want to do it with anybody else.
And it comes across as a kind of a lack of respect for Rick. Like, Rick is saying, this is the way it's got to be, and they're like,
sure.
Everyone is rightfully so judging Spencer, saying that he can do better than Rick, but essentially everyone in this fucking town, from Carl to Michonne to Rosita,
Sasha, Jesus, like all of them.
Yeah, everyone thinks they can do better than Rick, and I don't quite get what the deal is. I mean, them openly them privately questioning his leadership and going to Rick and be like, look, we're all together. We all think this is like, we are not cowed.
Right.
We want to, not roll over and give up. Like, that would be appropriate, but I'm not saying this is inappropriate. It just comes across as dumb. Like, I don't think Rick's band is dumb.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not totally sure how I feel about it yet. It is clear that there is a lot of people mounting up, and it's going to be trouble one way or another. Whether it's trouble for Negan or trouble for Alexandria, not entirely sure yet.
So she uses every emotional button, and she pushes them all and says, you're a coward and you're weak. For once, do something useful and make me a bullet. And he proves her point by making her a bullet. Like, I thought it would be a pretty righteous moment if Eugene's like, no, make your own fucking bullet. This is wrong. I don't agree with it, and I'm going to prove you wrong.
And I'm not a coward. I'm not a
stand
coward. Up to you.
You're gonna you can kill me, you can beat me, you can abuse me, but instead he just fucking makes her a bullet.
He does.
So, character development, I guess.
And is it weird to you that Rosita only asks for a single bullet and actually doesn't even... She's not even implying here that she wants more than one. And in fact, she only gets one, and she's satisfied by that.
That's like going to a fucking cook and saying, make me a biscuit.
Okay.
If you get all of the supplies to make a bullet, you might as well make like a clip full of them.
At least, yes.
Because half the battle is getting all that shit together in one spot and getting the thing. I mean, I don't. Unless he literally only had like one, I forget what they're called, the primer caps or whatever. Unless he only had one of those or one casing or whatever, like the whole make me a bullet seemed really stupid. And also, what the fuck? If her prime goal is to kill Negan, one bullet.
So
what's that going to do? I mean,
she might in fact only have the one bullet because doesn't she pick that up off the ground when she comes back?
Yeah, but there's empty shell casings all over that place.
Well,
like, Alexander
we talked
probably
about
has
that,
a few thousand just within its walls. Like,
but I think the show is trying to say that this is the only bullet she has, and I don't buy it. I guess
that's dumb too.
Yeah,
I wonder if they're going because Negan obviously was into her. If she's going to she's going to make an offer to be his wife. And on their first night together, she's just going to close range blow his brains out.
How would she get the gun in? They're not going to pat her down? Her clothes are too tight. She can't hide that anywhere.
What? Anywhere?
Her hair? Like under her hat?
That's where I'm going with her hair, Jim. She's going to go with this giant B-52s style beehive, and it's just going to be bristling with weaponry.
She's going to have a cake with her. It'll be like Ma Beagle sneaking stuff to the
Best
Beagle
way
boys.
To Negan's heart is through his stomach, man.
The other way around, rather. Yeah. She'll come in with a cake with a gun in it, and it'll be rigged to blow his face off when he takes a bite.
Yeah, that's. I was thinking she would stuff it into a different pie of a sort, but we can go there too.
Raspberry.
Also, like I say, I think there's a lot of opening to make use of Negan's quote unquote benevolent sexism. Like I really don't think he would see Rosita as a serious threat.
Possibly so. Yeah.
Although He does have some badass women of his own. Like that one, I don't know what she was doing, but the one that Michonne jumps, she looked like she was pretty tough, and she's out there scavenging alone or whatever. So maybe I'm a little off on that. Anyway, so we're next treated to another crackling Sherry and Dwight sharing a smoke in a stairwell scene. This is literally a rerun of the last time we saw it.
Right.
The only
is this the end of it? She says, "You're right. We're not doing anything." And then she walks out. I think this is the last time they're going to meet in this stairwell.
Who the fuck is Dwight to give her a guilt trip about the way this is working out?
I don't know. I mean, they're both kind of in this situation. Yes. It's a real shit thing of him to do.
Yes. I think that, this is a pretty 50-50 if and you'd be pretty, like, maybe it's 45-55, but like for him to try to pull this shit, you're right, Sherry. You should have walked out on him, and she did. So, anything else you want to say?
Nope.
Because I thought this was stupid. The one, it's even stupider because she says, how do you sleep with yourself? And she says, well, how do you? And he goes, I don't. I stay up all night watching Tony Danza.
Right.
Like, really? You never sleep? You never sleep? Ever?
Mm-mm.
It's
never
been up
sleeps.
for like 30 consecutive days so far.
Yep. He decided in solidarity to stay up with Daryl. They just been listening to the song over and over. They're both on Easy Street.
Nah, pretty dumb scene.
Yeah.
Carl wants to put away his eye, but Negan says no. And then Carl says, I figured out why you haven't killed me or Dad or Daryl. It's because you can't kill us for whatever reason. Either, you've calculated politically or emotionally, or I don't know. But Carl's figured out that he's not going to kill him.
Supply chain. He can't cut off his supply chain.
Could be.
He needs that stuff.
He goes, you know what? Maybe I can't. Let's go for a ride, kid. So there's a convoy of trucks going out of the Savior Complex. Jesus is very conspicuously on top of them. No lookout, of which I noted there was numerous in the previous scene. Notice the man sprawling against the top of a white U-Haul truck.
Right.
No one noticed the messianic figure in the trench coat sprawled atop the pickup. This is colossally stupid.
I agree.
Like, they could have made it like Jesus is in a tree on the road outside of it because he followed a syrup trail and he, like, fucking ninjas on top of it. There's a lot of ways they could have made this so badass, but they did the laziest, stupidest thing possible.
Yeah, and I guess I don't understand. I have no idea where he goes. And I know that's the point, is you're supposed to be like, where the fuck did Jesus go? Man, he's a miracle worker.
But literally he's invisible.
Right, he must have turned invisible to get off the top of that truck. He must have.
And then to stay on it.
Or even if he stayed on it.
He just hung out there the whole day.
Maybe he is invisible. Have we ever considered that we're living in some fantasy world here where zombies exist and Jesus is invisible?
Let me ask you this, has anyone besides Rick or Carl acknowledge Jesus? What if Jesus is like a figment of their imagination?
It's a Grimes family tradition.
He's a shared delusion, yep.
This is their Christmas tradition. Every Christmas, Jesus comes to visit. And he's a badass
Puts
ninja.
on a beanie, does some parkour, teaches him the meaning of Christmas, and then fucks off until February.
And cuts the bottom out of the booze box.
The bottom. Oh, that Jesus.
Jesus.
It's like setting out the cookies and milk for Santa. You set out the bottomless Scotch box for Jesus.
Guess we got to suck it out of the carpet again this year, kids.
Oh, man, it's so dumb.
And Daryl is just staring at the top of this truck, just trying to give away Jesus' location.
Right.
It's crazy to me. Daryl, you should know better than that.
So Daryl comes. Speaking of Daryl, he comes up and says, "If you touch him, I'm gonna kill you," or something. He just says, "If you touch him," and Negan says, "You seem so worried. I'm taking the kid home. Also, you're in timeout." And then he flips him the bird, which why not?
Sure.
That's where I'm talking about the desperation. Like, you done. Put him in the box is showing him that you got power over him. Flipping him off almost seems like gives him a little bit too much credit.
Okay.
Like, not, do you see what I'm feeling?
Yeah, you should view him as a non-threat, not worry about how he's feeling in that moment.
Like, want to make sure that that he knows that that he knows that you think.
Negan also just like to fuck around with people. Like,
I guess. Which, again, it makes him seem. It's a curious blend of clay and iron, this guy.
Yeah.
He's got just these just glaringly ooey gooey marshmallow soft spots, and he's also got these really hard impenetrable parts to him, and it just seems like he'd be a shit show as a leader. But whatever. So Daryl gets a note when he's in timeout. It says "Go now," and it contains a match and a key. I think it's a key to a car. Did you think so?
Oh, is it?
It's like one of those big square plastic Toyota keys from 90s to early 2000s Toyota.
Who gave him the key? There were only